Diana,
He,
Deborah has not joined, so we're going to get started in a moment.
okay, well, just do me then.
I will. We'll start in a moment then.
Okay. I'll do for both if she doesn't get on.
Yeah. Uh, she's not in the queue.
Pardon me? She says she's on the queue. Is she? Is that what she said? She said no. He said she's not in the queue.
I'm looking for Deborah Cavanis. She's
Uh-huh.
she's not she's not on, Diana.
Okay.
Okay. So let me get started. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's webinar on positioning your business for government contracting. I'm Peter Talion, the workshop coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County, and I'll be your host. This webinar is being done in collaboration with the Southern Connecticut Black Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Bridgeport Opportunities Industrialization Center. Our speakers today are from the Connecticut Small Business Program and from the Small Business Administration, SBA, and we'll give you some more information about that in just a moment. Before we get started with introducing our speakers, I would like to introduce Diana Washington, who is the leader of the Southern Connecticut Black Chamber of Commerce, and she has some opening remarks. Go ahead, Diana, please.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the chamber, I'd like to welcome everybody. And for those that don't know about us, the Southern Connecticut Black Chamber is a business network organization. We serve the small minority and women-owned businesses in the greater Bridgeport communities by providing educational and informational workshops, free access to contract bids, MBE certification, and business-to-business networking events. Our group is dedicated to creating a level playing field when it comes to providing the same opportunities and resources for our minority and women-owned businesses as their counterparts. And a little bit about Bridgeport OIC. Bridgeport OIC has been unlocking the doors of opportunities in the greater Bridgeport and surrounding towns for over 20 years. OIC plays a vital role in the struggle for economic justice and provides free job training, job placement, and skills development services. The agency prepares and empowers adults for today's workforce, the changing economy, environmental challenges. And again, I'd like to thank everybody, and I will be putting the Chamber's information and Bridgeport OIC's information in the chat box. So in case anybody wants further information about us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diana. Some brief information on SCORE before we get started. SCORE is a national organization. We have 220 offices, over 10,000 volunteers nationally. We are part of the Small Business Administration. In Fairfield County, we have over 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. SCORE offers three primary value-added services to small business owners. We offer free one-on-one counseling over the phone, video, and in person. And the way you can access those free counseling sessions is by clicking Request Mentor on our website or the link on the screen. We also provide many educational in-person workshops and live webinars, such as what you're participating in today, about 100 per year on a very wide range of topics. And we have extensive resources on our website, including a network of subject matter experts that you can use, talk to, and take advantage of as you build your business. Some useful information about today's event. If you have a question, please use either the chat window or the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen during the presentation. We will hold questions till the end, at which point our speakers will be happy to answer each and every one of your questions. Our workshop will end at 1 o'clock to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org within the next couple of days. Now, I'm delighted to talk about our two speakers today, experts in their field. Tanisha Baptiste is the Business Opportunity Specialist with the Connecticut District Office of the Small Business Administration. In this role, Tanisha performs all duties related to federal government contracting, including the SBA's set-aside programs. We're also joined today by Shelli Orosz, who's a contract analyst with the State of Connecticut Small Business Program. The program serves as the primary liaison with small vendors seeking procurement opportunities with the State of Connecticut and private sector markets. The mission of the Small Business Program is to facilitate economic development for our state's small and minority businesses by recruiting, certifying, and connecting them with that marketplace. I'm now very pleased to turn over our presentation to Tanisha and Shelli. And Tanisha, I believe you will go first.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I'm going to kick this off by talking about the federal government contracting program. Just bear with me. I'm going to get this together today, I promise. Okay, here we go. Okay, so as was already mentioned, I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration, and today we are going to be talking about federal government contracting to kick you all off. So one of the first things that people want to say, why government contracting? Why should I get involved in government contracting, specifically on the federal level? So one thing about the federal government, we are the world's largest customer. We buy all kinds of products and services. I always get asked the question, does the government buy what I'm selling? And I can tell you more than likely, the answer to that question is yes. A lot of times people think government contracting, they think of construction, they think of IT, but the federal government buys everything from food to office supplies, even bells that ring for some of the military services. Landscaping work is always done at the federal building. So there's so many opportunities in the federal government. So I start with numbers. The federal government purchases upwards of $600 billion federal spending on the contracting side of the house. So again, we are the world's largest customer. The federal government is required by law to provide contract opportunities to small businesses. So what the SBA has done is we've imposed goals on federal agencies. So 23% of prime contracting dollars should be set aside for small businesses. So in numbers, that's $138 billion that's left on the table for small business. And I can tell you that these agencies have exceeded that goal year over year. For fiscal year 23, I think that we were looking at $150 billion that was set aside for small businesses. So there's definitely opportunity out there for you all. So before you jump the gun and say, I'm ready, let's do this, you want to assess your business. You want to figure out if your business is ready. So does the government buy what you sell? So there's a way that you can search for that. You can look in sam.gov. This is going to be a very broad overview, so I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details of it, but there are ways for you to research what the government is buying to determine whether or not they are buying your specific product or service. Do you have federal contracting experience? Do you have the cash, inventory, and working capital? Are you capable of fulfilling a government contract? And do you know where to find contracting opportunities? And spoiler, I already told you the answer to that. You'll find those opportunities on sam.gov. That's the System for Award Management. So with contracting, one thing that we want you to know upfront when we say, can you fulfill a government contract? You're going to start with the finances. Do I have the money to fulfill it? Because you're not going to get payment upfront. Sometimes you'll get interim payments throughout the life of the contract as it's going. Sometimes you may not get payment until the project is complete. So do you have adequate cash to finance a government contract? So if you need financing, you want to make sure that you have to demonstrate strength of character. Do you have adequate cash flow to repay any financing that you may need? Do you have collateral to get a loan? Do you have capitalizations plus liquid holdings and earnings? And are there conditions that can affect your ability to repay the loan? Those are the things that a lender is going to be looking at. If you say, I don't have the upfront funding to perform this contract, I need to speak with the lender and get financing. These are the questions that a lender is going to ask you. So you want to kind of ask that internally before you take it to a lender as well. So how do you get started? Do you know your NAICS code? So NAICS, that's the North American Industry Classification Code. And that's used to define basically what industry you're in. And it's used for administrative contracting as well as tax purposes. So every time you file your tax return, somebody, if it's not you, it's your tax accountant, they're putting a 6-digit code on your tax return. And that 6-digit code is actually your NAICS code. So one thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're looking at your tax returns and making sure that that code is correct. And that is the actual industry that you're performing in. So size standards, and Shelli's going to speak to this as well. Connecticut is unique in that the state mirrors the federal government in terms of size standards. So the state of Connecticut also uses the SBA size standards to determine whether or not you're a small business. So the way that we determine if you're a small business is based on your industry. So it's going to be either based on annual receipts or it's going to be based on number of employees. So the SBA size standards is on our website. So someone's going to say to me, probably in the chat somewhere, I have a consulting firm and I have 5 employees. Am I small? I'm going to tell you, I don't have them all memorized. So the size standard chart is actually on our website. So you can type in your NAICS code and it's going to pop back what the standards are to determine whether you are small. In order for anyone to verify this information, you are going to have to register in SAM, and that's going to be the next slide. But first, the NAICS code, where do you find your NAICS code, right? So there's a couple of websites, but the one that I really want you to use is the census. So it's going to be census.gov/NAICS, NAICS. You can search by keywords. You can search by, if you know the NAICS code itself, you can, if you look at your tax return, you see the 6-digit code there and you want to see if it's accurate, you can type that in there as well to determine what your NAICS code is. So once you've determined that, you want to make sure that you are registering in SAM. That's the System for Award Management. It is sam.gov. There's no other website to do this. It is sam.gov. There's a lot of spoof websites out there. Your SAM registration as well as renewals will always be free. If you're ever trying to register in any of these systems and you're prompted for payment, you're probably in the wrong place. And I'll say, you can send me an email, ask me, is this right? And I'll let you know where you should be. I'll redirect you because everything is going to be free. So when you register in SAM, there's 2 different things that you can do. You can register just for what's called a unique entity identifier, or you can do a full registration. You need to make sure that you're doing the full registration. If you go in here and you say, I spent 10 minutes and I'm done, you did not complete your SAM registration. So this one is if everything is perfect and all planets are aligned exactly the way that they're meant to be, you have all of your documents, minimum of 45 minutes. Most people they have to leave and come back to it another day to complete the SAM registration. So it's required to do business with the federal government. The state of Connecticut is going to require that you're registered in SAM if you're applying for any of their set-asides because they need to verify whether or not you're small, and the only way that they can do this is by looking at your SAM registration. Okay. So you're gonna research your market. Once you've got all of that done, you've got your NAICS code, you're registered in SAM, now what? You're gonna have to do a lot of proactive self-marketing, right? And a lot of research. So you wanna know what agencies buy your products or services. You can do that by going to usaspending.gov. You can do this by searching in sam.gov, or you can go directly to the agency's websites. A lot of agencies are putting out their forecasts. There's usually a link to a document that has their forecast in terms of what they're planning on spending or procuring during the next fiscal year. You want to find your niche. If you're in a saturated market, competition is definitely fierce. So you want to make sure that you're finding your niche and what's going to be what we call your unique differentiator. So what's separating you from everybody else. You're going to understand the areas of government spending, and we're going to touch on that briefly as well. And then you want to know your competition and their contracts. And this is all public. So if you know that an opportunity was out there and you want to know who won it, you can find that information in either USA Spending or sam.gov. So you'll be able to know who actually is winning these contracts. You're going to need to develop a capability statement. So a capability statement, the best way to explain it, it's a business resume. One page, usually one-sided. If you have any images or anything like that, you can put those on the rear side of it, but it's a one-pager. You're gonna give an introduction to your business, proof of qualifications, if you have any requirements for licenses, or if you have any QA standards, different things like that. You're going to put that on your capability statement. It's your door opener. You're going to captivate customers. So it really has to be an attention grabber. You're going to use it if you're looking to be a prime on a contract, or if you're looking to team up with another prime contractor. If you are looking to respond to certain posts that are in SAM, so we said sources sought, and that means that the agency is looking for sources. They're doing their market research. Or if they're posting a request for information and they send that to you, they're going to say, I want to see your capability statement. So you need to have a very strong capability statement that you're replying with. One keynote that I like to tell folks is just like when you have your personal resume and you're applying for a job. So you're usually given the guidance, you're going to have your basic resume, right? And then you're going to tailor it every time you apply for a different job. Your capability statement is the same. You're going to have your general capability statement, and then you're going to have what's called targeted capability statements. So if you're responding to in request for information, or what we call an RFI, you're going to tailor that capability statement for that specific response. They're going to tell you exactly what information that they're looking for. Okay. You want to write your government marketing plan. How are you going to market yourself to the government? And I should have specified when I said government, this should be federal government, because the federal government's fiscal year differs from the state government fiscal year. So our fiscal year runs October through September. So October 1st through September 30. So this was what your marketing plan should kind of look like. During the first quarter, you should start raising awareness, building relationships. That's going to be October through December. And I'll tell you, the federal government literally just got our full funding, our full budget for fiscal year 24, was it yesterday? So they don't even have money yet in October and December, unless it's just a phenomenal year. And for some reason, Congress passes the budget like at the very beginning of the fiscal year, but that does not happen often. So this is a great time for you to start marketing yourself and building relationships. January through June, that's when you want lead generation campaigns. You're looking for responses, different things like that. That's the second and third quarter. July through September, which is the final quarter, that's when you're going to give some last minute offers and awareness campaigns. And the fourth quarter is significant in the federal government, because the federal government, the agencies, they don't want to leave money on the table. So a lot of times in the fourth quarter, that's when they're trying to hurry up and spend, so that the big bosses don't take the money away from them or reduce their budgets for the subsequent years. So there are some different contracting vehicles. I'm not going to go into the specifics of the contracting vehicles, but I'm going to touch on a few. So there's common types of ways to win government contracts. So contracts will be posted as full and open competition. And what that means is that anyone can bid on this contract. Large business, small business, it doesn't matter. Anyone can bid on that. Then you have your small business set-asides. Those will be set aside for either all small businesses or for some of our specific set-asides, which we'll talk about in a later slide. And the final one is sole source. Those don't come up very often. You have to be in a specific category to qualify for sole source, such as a participant in the 8A business development program or hub zone programs. So those are the common types of ways. And then there's some other ways too. You have your micro purchases, anything less than $10,000. They don't require competitive bids. They're paid with a government purchase card, credit card. We're going to back up a bit to your SAM registration. At the very end of your SAM registration, you'll see an SBA logo, and that will take you to the SBA supplemental pages. What that does is that allows you to create a profile in what's called the dynamic small business search. The dynamic small business search is where a lot of contracting officers or purchasing contacts go to find small businesses when they need to make a micro purchase, which means they don't have to post it on SAM. They can just call you up, and a lot of this happens in the fourth quarter when they're trying to hurry up and spend that money. They're going to call you up and say, I have this opportunity less than $10,000. I want to pay with a credit card. You're going to say, fantastic. But you don't have to be, but people won't be able to find you if you're not in the dynamic small business search. So the simplified acquisition process, these are the acquisitions that go into SAM. These are the ones that can be set aside for small businesses. Those are any purchase between $10,000 and $250,000. Sealed bidding, usually you'll see this under the Department of Defense. So it's used when they have a need for services or supplies that's very clear, specific. Sometimes you may need a security clearance in order to view these. There's no negotiation prior to the award, and very specific people will have access to them. Then there's contract by negotiation. So these are technical products that are valued at more than $150,000, and negotiation is allowed prior to award. Then another thing outside of contracts, these are not contracts, these are what we call agreements. Basic order agreements, not a contract. It expedites contracts for uncertain requirements. And then you have your blanket purchase agreement, which is more common than the BOA. And that is for repetitive needs. So for example, I'll use our office as an example. We used to have a blanket purchase agreement with Xerox. So we had to be on a like a maintenance plan for them to come in, and any issues that came up with the Xerox, supplies that we needed from the Xerox, different things like that are under a blanket purchase agreement. So it's just a repetitive need to fill supplies, and you determine the amount at the beginning of the fiscal year, and then you can reassess and adjust it throughout the fiscal year if you need to add money to it or reduce it at all. The General Services Administration under the GSA schedule, a lot of the businesses under the GSA schedule, they're actually under a BPA, not a full contract. So a lot of what I've already talked about, most of what I've already talked about is if you wanted to be the prime contractor on an award. So this means that you are the one that's fulfilling the entire contract. You're looking for vendors if you need them. You're looking for subs if you need them. But a lot of people discount the benefits of subcontracting. And this is fantastic if you're just getting started, right? And you don't know where to start, or you don't have the capabilities to fulfill an entire contract. So it's a great starting point. It allows you to build capacity, start building relationships. You're getting your past performance created. You're having access to the federal government indirectly. These are things you can put on your capability statements when a contracting officer is asking if you have any past performance. It's the fastest way to enter the federal marketplace, as opposed to like going out there and just trying to get these prime contracts on your own. And it allows a lot more opportunity for small business as well. So a prime contractor, again, they're the ones that entered into the prime contract with the government. Then you have your subcontractor, anyone who's underneath that. So the relationship that you'll have with the prime is controlling the relationships. They're setting the standards. You guys need to work cohesively and as a high performance team, and planning and communication leads to successful contracts. So when a prime contractor gets a big contract, and we're in Connecticut, so I'm going to use Electric Boat because they get lots and lots of large contracts, as does Pratt and Whitney and UTC and all of them. A lot of times when they enter into a contract, they are required to present to the contracting officer what's called a subcontracting plan. And in that plan, they have to explain to the prime, because remember, the agency has these goals, right? 23% of prime contracting dollars need to be set aside for small businesses. And a lot of times those are written into the prime contract saying you need to sub a certain percentage of this contract out to small businesses. And I will tell you that I do have a list of any prime contractor for fiscal year 24 or 23 that did have to enter a subcontracting plan. And I can share that with anyone. So if you want to see that and you're interested in subbing, I can share that that information with you. I can't facilitate the relationship. I can just let you know that subcontracting plans exist. It would be up to you to develop that relationship with the prime contractor and see if you're a good fit for their subcontracting plan. All right, lastly, we're going to get into the set-asides that I spoke about. So remember, 23% of prime contracting dollars are set aside for all small businesses. And then that's broken down into socioeconomic categories. So these are formal certifications that you have to apply for through the SBA. So women-owned small businesses, 5% should be gold to be set aside for women-owned small businesses. 12% should be set aside for small disadvantaged businesses, including 8A certified businesses. 3% should be set aside for businesses who have their hub zone or historically underutilized business zone certification, and 5% for service disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And we already talked about the simplified acquisition threshold. So those are reserved for businesses between $10,000 and $250,000. So the 8A Business Development Program, this is a business development program, right? It allows you to have access to business development support. It's a 9-year program. It is a formal certification. It helps you to build capacity and grow through contracts. You are eligible for set-aside, you're eligible for sole source contracting, different things like that. So you get your management and technical assistance through your state's business opportunity specialist. And then you get government contracts, hopefully, and you have the ability to thrive. Now, these aren't guarantees. Getting these set-asides aren't guarantees that you're going to get a contract, but what we like to say is it makes you more marketable in the federal marketplace. Okay. The historically underutilized business zone certification, this is an economic development program, right? So this is a certification that's reserved for businesses that are located in distressed areas. And also these same businesses should be employing individuals who also live in a distressed area. So it's supposed to help stimulate capital investment, allows the business to have capacity and grow. You get access to hub zone set-asides. You are offering employment opportunities, capital investments into the area. So the hub zone program is not just about contracting, it's more about economic development. You get the contracts, but we want the money to be funneled into the community as well. So the woman-owned small business program, very similar to the rest. You get to take advantage of those 5% contracting goals, building capacity and grow. You can get your set-asides. Service disabled veteran-owned small business, same thing, set-asides, building capacity and grow. You can establish joint ventures for all of these. So we would like for you to start with the All Small Mentor Protege program. And this is when you identify a large business, or it could be another small business, but they have more experience, right? So you'll develop this mentor protege relationship with them. And you can get any type of business development assistance. It could be for marketing, it could be financial, it could be for HR support. But it helps you to build your capacity and grow. They're helping you in your business succeed in one way or another. So people always say, why would a large business or why would a successful business want to enter into a mentor protege relationship with me? What's the benefit for them? And this last one here that you see, establishing joint ventures, that is why they want to enter into a mentor-protege relationship with you. Other agencies have mentor-protege programs, such as the Department of Defense, but the SBA's mentor-protege program is the only one where you can establish a joint venture through that program. So if you form a joint venture, you're creating like a third arm, right? So you have business A and business B. Business A is large, business B is small, and you guys see an opportunity out there that's set aside for a small business. So you're going to say, well, what we're going to do is we're going to form together business C as a joint venture. That business absorbs the small business's small status, and the large business and the small business can work on that contract together. It works for all of the, if it's woman-owned, if they have woman-owned small business certification, if they have 8A certification, service disabled veteran-owned, hub zone, whatever, that joint venture can absorb that status when they form it. So that is my very quick 20 minutes on federal government contracting. So it's a lot. There's a lot with federal government contracting. It is very complex. There's all kinds of twists and turns. It falls under both the Code of Federal Regulations, but more importantly, the Federal Acquisitions Regulations, or the FAR. So a lot of times small businesses come to me, they say, oh, I feel silly, or I feel like, you know, this is overwhelming or anything like that. And the thing of it is very complex. So one thing that I do want you to know is that you have free help. So through all of this, I just told you all about it and told you all of the different things and didn't really go into detail, but you have the small business development centers who have free advisors and will help you. You have SCORE who will help you. You have Apex Accelerators whose only focus is on procurement, who will work with you and help you not only through federal government contracting, but through state and municipalities and locals as well. So you do have free assistance out there. We do have other programs available between us and our resource partners, where we have some webinars that are more, that go a little bit more in depth about individual things. So for example, if you're really interested in a woman-owned small business certification, there may be a webinar coming up that only talks about that. So if you follow us on Twitter or connect with us on LinkedIn, we always post both ours as well as our resource partners' upcoming events. And if you sign up for our newsletter, every month we send a newsletter that talks about the events coming up from the SBA as well as our resource partners. And lastly, I know a couple of times I said you can send me an email. Absolutely, this is my contact information, first name dot last name at sba.gov. So any questions that you have following this webinar, feel free to send me an email and I will respond. And I think with that, we're going to open up for questions before we turn it over to Shelli. I think, is that how we're going to do it?
I think what we're going to do, Tanisha, is we're going to let Shelli go ahead, and then we're going to take questions at the end. We are keeping track of all the questions and comments in the chat, so we'll definitely get to them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Please
All
go
right,
ahead,
Shelli,
Shelli.
you're up.
All right. All right. Good afternoon. My name's Shelli Orosz. I am with the, let me just finish pulling up my, all right. Can you see my screen now?
We can see your screen and your charts.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. So my name's Shelli Orosz. I am part of the business outreach team with the DAS procurement division. We manage the contracts, most of the contracts across the state of Connecticut. And as Tanisha mentioned, with the federal government, we also contract a wide variety of products and services. If you have a product or service to sell, it is definitely worth exploring whether the state of Connecticut purchases those items. Our supplier diversity program is a really important part of this, of our procurement process. Per Connecticut law, 25% of our procurable dollars must be spent with small business enterprises, certified small business enterprises. And of that, a quarter of that must be spent with minority business enterprises. This is a free certification. You should definitely not be paying for this certification. That is what we are here to help you. Myself and the rest of our business outreach team, we're very passionate about this certification and about helping eligible businesses get through our process. So how do you qualify? So small business enterprise has 3 basic eligibility items. Your principal place of business must be in Connecticut. So you may have locations in other states, but your headquarters must be here. You also need to register in SAM, which Tanisha just mentioned, the Federal System of Award Management, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Also, your company must be independent. So it must be you cannot be dependent upon another company for your daily sustainability. For the minority business enterprise, you must first meet all of the criteria for the small business enterprise. Principal place of business in Connecticut, registered in SAM, and have an independent company. You also must be owned, at least 51% of the company must be owned by a person or persons who, first of all, meet the requirements for minority status in the state of Connecticut, which currently includes women, disabled, and people of various ethnicities. Also, that person or persons, they must have operating and management authority. They cannot be a figurehead. They have to actually be able to call the shots. And we do dig. I will say we dig on these, on all of these items that I'm about to mention. They also must receive the beneficial interest. That means that they are the ones who are meeting. If they own at least 51%, they should be getting the most benefit out of the company. They also should have the most liability. Finally, technical competence. This is also important. They cannot just be running the office. We will not, that is unacceptable. They cannot just be running the office. They have to actually know deep down. They need to know the business of your business, right? What are the products and services? How does that work? How do daily operations work? They need to be able to be a part of that. So I'm going to go over just briefly the different certification steps. As Tanisha mentioned, we do use the Federal System of Award Management to determine whether your business is small, and they do use the SBA size standards to determine that. Dependent upon your NAICS code, they'll determine it either based on your revenue or your number of employees. And this is a difficult step for a lot of businesses, I will say. SAM can be difficult to get through. It actually is a good thing that we added this requirement, because it has opened up the small business certification to a lot more companies. It used to be that Connecticut only had one threshold for everyone, and that was just inappropriate. There were a lot of businesses that actually were small that weren't qualifying for. So now, it is it's a little bit more work, but more businesses are able to qualify for this. As Tanisha mentioned, this is a free certification, and you should absolutely not be paying anybody to help you with this. And there are a lot of resources to help you. Our hosts, our examples, there are other small business organizations across Connecticut. One of them, Apex, has an online step-by-step guide to help you through the SAM process. I've included the link right here on this slide. I'm going to be sharing these links at the end of the presentation as well. Also, we offer an in-person clinic every month at the MDC in Hartford. And if you're interested in attending that, please just reach out to us and we will hook you up. You can actually come in. We'll have someone from Apex. Our office will be there. We'll help you with the whole process. So second step is to create an account in BizNet. That is our portal for the supplier diversity application. You're going to submit that application along with your required documents. And what documents are required really depends upon, are you applying for the small business or the minority business application? Also, what type of business do you have? If you have an LLC, a corporation, all of this information is on our website about what your required documents will be. So finally, get your application in. It's going to be reviewed by a member of our team. You know, if you need a quick turnaround, this is, you need to plan ahead. This is a very popular certification, as you can imagine, which means it takes time to get through this process. It's going to probably be a few weeks, maybe even a month before you are assigned to a reviewer. When you submit your application, it goes into our queue. We get through it as quickly as we can, but it's a first in, first out. So, you know, we slug through these as quickly as we possibly can. Keep an eye on your email, because all of our communication with you is going to happen through email. And so as soon as you're assigned to a reviewer, you will be able to, if you know, they'll look through, see what you're missing, let you know. They'll also be available for questions, you know, to help you through this process. So finally, renewal. That's a very important piece, and often companies forget about this. This certification is good for 2 years. It's really important that you go back in and you get yourself recertified. Also, SAM needs to be renewed. SAM is only good for 1 year, but before you come in and recertify with us, you will have to make sure your SAM registration is renewed. Now, we do offer a courtesy email for you for our certification. We send an email out to you at 120, 90, 60, and 30 days. But this is a courtesy email. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are keeping an eye on that calendar and ready to recertify. And again, remember, we're very busy. When you recertify, don't recertify the day before you expire. Make sure you give it a month or two, preferably a couple of months. All right, so CT Source, I'm going to tell you a little bit about CT Source. This is our contracting portal. This is your one-stop solicitation shop. And there's a few things you can do on here. And this is actually something that you can go take advantage of today. It really does not take very much time to get registered for CT Source as a supplier. And as you can see, we have user guides on how to get registered. Once you register, you're gonna check off the different commodities, the different products and services that you sell. And once you finish the registration, every time a solicitation opens that is related to your products or services, you're going to get an email, which is great. And remember, it's not just from the state of Connecticut. Municipalities also use CT Source. A lot of nonprofits and other organizations use CT Source. So there's a lot of opportunity here. You can also go in and just check our bid board. Every open solicitation and prior solicitations are on the bid board. And again, you have a user guide and you have a response and addenda guide here. So we try to always give you a lot of assistance in getting through this process. Finally, we have our contract board. This is a really, really vital piece because it includes expired contracts and current contracts. So there's a couple of things that you can do with this. First of all, use it for research. As you're developing a proposal, look at the current contract, look at expired contracts to see what was included. What have we been looking for in the past? You can also find upcoming opportunities here. If you find a contract and you're interested in it for the future, you're going to be able to see right on CT Source when the expiration date is. So there are a lot of benefits and opportunities to our certification. First off is the directories. So when you become certified, you will be placed on our small and minority business, our BizNet directory. Also, if you register for CT Source, which I just mentioned in the last slide, that's another directory that you will get added into. And these are both offer you marketing opportunities. Other companies, agencies, contractors, different businesses, they're going to use these directories to search for small and minority businesses that they can do business with. We also strongly recommend that you include our certification on bids and RFPs, non-state bids and RFPs, because you just got vetted by the state. This is a great asset. This is part of your marketing portfolio going forward, this certification. Now, these can lead, you have these marketing opportunities, they can lead to some growth opportunities. Our set aside program, it's excellent. It levels the playing field for you. When you put in a bid on a solicitation that has a set aside, it's narrowing the competition field for you. Basically, you're competing against other Connecticut-based small business, Connecticut-based certified small businesses or Connecticut-based certified minority businesses. These can lead to expansion potential. So I have included our contact information here. This is an email. We're very focused on customer service. Like as I mentioned, we are very passionate about this certification, and so we definitely consider our job is to help eligible companies to get through this process. We do dig deep. This is a valuable certification because we do make sure that the companies that receive this certification, that you are truly eligible. But we're here to help you. So definitely keep an eye, reach out to us by email. If you don't hear back from us in 48 hours, it means we didn't get your email. So send it out again, because we do keep track of this on a daily basis, and we try to answer it as quickly as possible. Our website is also here. This is, we have a lot of information on this website, eligibility, the documentation that's required. And in just a moment, I'll actually post all of the links, our contact information, our website, all of the different links that I mentioned today. I'll post those in the chat so that you can grab them. I also did share those links and our PDF of the PowerPoint I'm sharing today with Diana so that she can get it out to everybody. Finally, before we open up to questions, spreading this message, please help us get the word out about this certification. Share our contact information or our website with potential companies that might like to sell their products and services to the state of Connecticut. The more companies that are involved in this, the more set-asides we can set up, the more we can do business with small businesses. So thank you very much, and I'll look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Shelli and Tanisha. We've got about 10 minutes for questions, so we'll get started. Number one, can you just basic definition, the NAICS code, is that the same as an EIN number?
No, it is not. That is, again, that's your industry, that's the industry classification. So EIN is unique to you as an individual. NAICS is unique to the industry that you're in.
Thank you. Next question, are there networking trade fairs with government procurement offices and persons?
So Shelli and I are very familiar with these, but the small business matchmakers, there's a regional one coming up in Vermont. I know I responded to someone else on that question. There's a regional small business matchmaker that's going to be in Vermont on May 15th and 16th. In Connecticut, we are going to be trying to plan one, Shelli's face. Because
Coming
it's a
up
lot
on
of work
both
to
of our
put
plates,
together.
right?
Yes, that will fall on both of our plates. So what's
Yes.
about us, the state, the Department of Administrative Services, as well as us here at the SBA, we work very closely and collaboratively. So we are looking to try to plan one for Connecticut, either final quarter, late final quarter 24 or early first quarter 25. But if you look around, there's a large one that happens in New York. They have them in Boston. So if you're willing to cross state lines, the matchmakers are great opportunities. And sometimes industries will have their own matchmakers. So for example, the Minority Construction Council, they put on different matchmakers for themselves. Some minority development services and councils, they may put some on. So you have to do a little bit of research to see what events are happening. Search an Eventbrite or just do a Google search or subscribe to different newsletters. Shelli, do you have any ideas as well?
I'll add that if we are involved, if the DAS is involved in any opportunities, and we do try to get on a lot of these, we include this. We have a calendar of events on our website, so definitely check out our websites. That'll include trainings, but it'll also include opportunities like this.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Just going back to a question in the chat, just on basics. The registration on sam.gov, does that also fulfill the Corporate Transparency Act requirements?
No, it does not. So two completely different things. The Corporate Transparency Act, that is through the US Treasury. That's a reporting system or reporting requirement. So you will still need to fulfill that requirement with the Department of Treasury.
Okay. Are there agencies that provide assistance with registering on sam.gov?
Yeah, either one of us can take that one, Shelli. But yes, the Apex Accelerators, Small Business Development Centers, Department DAS, I'm speaking for Shelli, sorry. They do clinics with Apex. You want to talk about the clinics?
Yeah, if you are applying for the small business certification with the state of Connecticut, we can definitely help you out with SAM as well. We are getting, we're all getting, slowly becoming experts in SAM, not just our certification, but we do have monthly clinics where you can come in person and yeah, just reach out to us in the email that I shared and we'll definitely hook you up with that.
Another question, once we are certified, what would you recommend the best way to reach out for connection and collaboration?
So if you're talking federal certifications, depending on the type of certification, there's different approaches. Like 8A, we send out introduction letters and different things like that because of the sole source opportunities. But otherwise, definitely make sure you're updating your capability statement and same type of marketing that you would do, except now you have these certifications to add to it. Attend small business matchmaker, networking events, search in SAM because they do have not just contracting opportunities, but they do have kind of like networking or information sessions that they get posted in SAM as well. So a lot of people discount signing up for those, but you should definitely register for those in SAM as well. And then Shelli can speak to the state certifications.
Yep, and I'm sorry, I just completely blanked on what was the question again? I'm sorry, I had it in my head. What was the question again?
How to network once you get your certifications.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Tell it's time for lunch, right? Definitely check out CT Source. As I reviewed, definitely register for CT Source because that's where you're going to see the opportunities that are coming up. Also look for subcontracting opportunities. Some solicitations will require subcontracting, in which case you may be able to go to a a pre-solicitation meeting and meet other prime contractors that are interested, and you can connect with them. Also, the businesses that are in your industry, the companies. Reach out to them, set up, try to create those relationships. Go to matchmakers, as Tanisha mentioned. It's really all about, when it comes to subcontracting, it's really important to get those relationships developed. Those would be my suggestions.
Okay, excellent. There's questions in terms of where people can get this recording. So this is recording can be easily accessed on the score.org website. You can go to fairfieldcounty.score.org. So any SCORE website, if you're listening to this webinar from outside the state of Connecticut, go to your local SCORE website and you can type in the day and the time and the topic, and the recording will be available within the next 24 hours, and you can go back and take a look at this. If you want copies of the slides, our recommendation is to go to one of our speakers. They put their contact information online, and you can ask them for any of the slides that you saw today, if that would be helpful to you. One question in the remaining time we have from earlier, as a startup, funding is what we need the most. How can one demonstrate character?
So when we talk about character, we mean things like, so your personal credit score. So whether you've been in business or not, they're going to pull your personal credit score. They're going to pull your business credit score. If you're new, you may not have a business credit score yet, but they're still pulling your personal credit score. So I always tell people, we all should know what our FICO credit scores are. Banks now give it to us for free. We're also looking at, experience in the field, right? So if you are trying to open a mechanic shop, but you've never worked on a car a day in your life, it's going to be difficult to get funding because they're looking for repayment ability, and the fact that you have, experience in the field and different things like that. They do a background check, but I do say, if you have any minor brushes with the law, that's not going to lead to a decline as long as you're honest up front. So if they notice any dishonesty or anything like that. And personal reputation, especially if you're with a community bank, they do look at personal reputations in the business community and different things like that. So yeah, those are the main things that they're looking for.
Okay. Any closing comments, Shelli or Tanisha?
I included my my direct email in the chat, and yeah, definitely happy to answer any questions. Feel free to reach out.
And I do think that I saw someone ask if you have to be registered in SAM as a subcontractor. If they need to verify your status as a small business, so you should be registered in SAM. I've heard of instances where people are getting subcontracts, because if I say, yes, you absolutely have to, someone's going to say, I know business XYZ that got a sub and they were not in SAM. The proper way to do it is you should be registered in SAM, because that prime contracting officer needs to do their due diligence and make sure that if they're trying to check off a box that they're giving it to a small business, that you are registered in SAM. They're not going to get the credit if you're not registered in SAM.
Thank you very much, Tanisha, for that additional important information. So thank you to both of you and to Diana for joining us at the beginning and sponsoring the event. As a reminder, a recording of this webinar and the materials will be available within a couple of days on the fairfieldcounty.score.org website. You can also find this on your local SCORE website. Please check out our website for information on upcoming webinars. We do several every week, so there's lots of information that is going to continue to come out to you, including how you deal with the Corporate Transparency Act. There are webinars upcoming on that. Again, SCORE offers free individual counseling, so please use the link on the screen or visit our website and click Request a Mentor. We are available for sessions via phone, email, or video. You will all receive an evaluation that will be sent to you at the end of the webinar. We really take these evaluations seriously, so we ask that you spend a moment to complete the evaluation. A big thank you to you, Shelli and Tanisha, for your excellent work and what you taught us today. That will bring our webinar to a close, and we wish everyone a great day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.